We'd like to call the board meeting to order at 7:06 p.m. The first thing we're going to do is do a Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silent prayer. Those who are able and willing to stand, please do so.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You'll remain standing for a moment of silent prayer. Thank you. The first item on our agenda is a proclamation for Workers' Memorial Day. Clerk Rowe.
I have a proclamation from the Charter Township of Ypsilanti honoring Workers' Memorial Day. Whereas every year on April 28th, communities and work sites around the world honor friends, family members, and colleagues who have been killed or injured on the job. And whereas in 2021, the Federal Bureau of Labor Statistics estimated that 5,190 workers were killed by traumatic injuries on the job. On average, nearly 100 workers died every week at roughly 14 workplace deaths a day. And whereas in 2021, 140 workers were lost through fatal workplace accidents in Michigan, and whereas it is appropriate to honor the memory of the courageous and dedicated members of Michigan's labor force who have been injured or disabled or have died as a result of workplace accidents, and whereas we remember those who have died in the workplace catastrophes, suffered occupational-related diseases, or have been injured due to dangerous conditions, and whereas recognition of the integrity of Michigan's workforce and its achievements on behalf of economic growth of our state is necessary. And whereas the Charter Township of Ypsilanti wishes to pay tribute to the workers who have died or been injured or disabled in workplace accidents, we honor the contributions of Michigan's workforce and call for increased workplace safety. Whereas the Charter Township of Ypsilanti renews our efforts to seek stronger workplace safety and health protections, better standards and enforcement, and fair and just compensation, and by redacting ourselves to improving safety and health in every workplace. Now, therefore, the Charter Township of Ypsilanti Board of Trustees do by here proclaim April 28, 2023, Workers' Memorial Day, and urge all citizens to recognize and honor the contributions of Michigan's workforce and call for increased workplace safety standards. And I know Tad Weiser, who submitted this request, is here. You want to say anything, Tad?
Thank you, I do. Thank you. So I'm Tad Weiser, 610 North Miami, Vice President of American Federation of Government Employees, Local 3907 at the EPA, and a member of the Executive Board of the Huron Valley Area Labor Federation of the AFL-CIO. So on behalf of our local labor federation, I want to say thank you all for, what may seem like a relatively small thing, but we think very important, a way to recognize the working people, both in unions and not yet in unions, that our community has lost. Of course, the best way to remember them will be the steps we all can continue to take together to make sure that all the working people and their families who are still with us are able to live full, safe, productive lives, both on the job and in the larger community. We look forward to working with each of you at a moment when the labor movement has begun expanding again, and new coalitions are forming on a variety of issues that are facing working people, with the prospect of creating a more thriving economy that includes every resident of our township. Thank you again for doing this.
Thank you.
You so move it.
Are there any public comments at this time?
My name is Arloa Kaiser, and I'm a Ypsilanti Township resident. And I just want to say that since St. Mark's Lutheran Church has been sold to Peace Neighborhood, I am afraid that the free store, their Auntie Yvonne's free store, is not going to be allowed there anymore. And I think that it is a sad thing that this is going to be gone. It's amazing how many people go in there and get clothes. It's like a garage sale, but everything is free. They're all donations and that type of thing. The gentleman from Peace Neighborhood, I'm not sure that he has the best interest of our township in his head, because he doesn't want the free store in the back. He has all these big ideas, but I would like to have the support of the township in trying to get him to listen that this is the best thing for our township, and if he's for people, why doesn't he accept this? And he's a nonprofit, and he's part of the church where the free store is. He wants to rent that out. Well, if it's nonprofit, why is he renting it out? Or plans to rent it out, and he's got a lot of ideas. And he has given them like 3 different dates that they have to be out, and then he says, oh no, we'll give you another date. So I'm not sure that he is, or Peace Neighborhood, since he's sponsoring or is the head of them or whatever he is in the best interest of our township. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kaiser. Are there any other public comments? No? Can you?
My name is Chris Haynes, and what you're talking about is a beautiful program because I have been over there supporting you. There's other churches that are out there in the area out there. I'm going to eventually connect with you and try to hook you up with them, young lady, because I'm in the streets all the time, so I know what you're doing.
Thank you, Chris. She does know. Thank you. Any other public comments at this time?
Hello, my name is Ariana Megnat, and I live in Green Farm. And I have noticed for so many years I've been living in this area, the road commissioners damage the roads to make money. It's just before the bridge in 23 going south, my land, there's a bridge. It's immaculate. A minute you go past the bridge, is holes. I mean, before that, holes, not after that. So sometimes I'm driving. The next day I noticed there are huge holes on the ground, and no one does anything. Together we have power, by ourselves we don't. We need to get a group of us, like 100, 200 people, go to the government to throw these people out, to bring new people to fix the roads. So, the same people are damaging the roads, and we are paying years and years for repairing these roads. So this is not right. The cars get damaged. I see so many broken glass in front, the cars, and the tires and all that. It's all about the money. And all these years we're paying for it, and the money goes to the road commissioners, and no one does anything, no one. And I'm getting fed up with all this damage. And they don't put the last coating so they can take it out. And when they there's no pieces, because they take it out and they put the pieces back in their car, So this has been going on, and I'm 1,000,000% sure they're doing it for money. And constantly damaging. Our cars get damaged, our glass get damaged, and we're constantly paying the government for taxes, goes to the pocket of these dishonest, corrupt people. So I decided to speak out, so we need to do something. Together, 1, 2, 3 people don't have any power. Together, 100, 200, we go to the government. Let's show these people, hire new people. Why do you start working with these dishonest people? Thank you. I had to say it to get it out of my
No,
chest.
thank you for coming. We appreciate it, and we'll let the road commission,
I had a business. I know about corruption,
Yes.
racketeering very well.
we will absolutely let them know. And I agree, there's a lot of potholes. And they do damage cars. I mean, it'll ruin your car in a minute. The consent agenda, we're going to table the minutes of the work session regular meeting. Need a motion to table?
So moved.
Support.
Motion Eldridge, support Rowe. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion table. We have statements and checks. and the treasurer's report for March of 2023.
So moved.
Support.
We have a motion and support, and Clerk Rowe reminded me that in the work session, the board agreed to add an agenda item for the request to approve the proposal with Cribley Drilling for the planning and construction of a well in Apple Ridge Park. And that will be under other business. Thank you, Ms. Rowe. So statements and checks and treasurer's report.
We have a motion.
We have a motion and support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Any general legal update, Mr. Winters?
Madam Chair, the board heard during the work session a very detailed and extensive update in regards to the planned demolition of Galt Village, so there's no need to repeat that, obviously. But I would say right now that I think the clerk's office, and the Clerk Rowe and Deputy Clerk Lisa Stanfield, and continue to receive a number of ongoing claims, or making claims and follow up to those claims on a number of infrastructure projects that will need to be performed because of certain types of damages. One, of course, includes the community center where the water line burst, and we continue to receive checks from the insurance in that regard. And here in the near future, I believe we'll have additional proposed contracts to start doing the remediation, because right now the 200 hallway, which is used extensively by the township seniors, has been closed because of the damage that was done by the water line that froze during the last week in December. So in addition to that project, we've also been looking at the carport that collapsed behind the Township Civic Center, 14B Court. We had some damage to those vehicles out there. That's being handled. The infrastructure projects are ongoing. The parks and maintenance building over here, the roof has been replaced. It's not yet been fully signed off on by the building department and the people that actually are required to confirm it was installed properly to guarantee that our warranty is in effect. But there's work being done for the community center roof that also is under contract by CEI. So there's just a lot of different infrastructure projects that are going on simultaneously. And Supervisor mentioned there's one item that's going to be discussed under other business in regards to a well project. So a lot of things, a lot of moving parts, a lot of letters that are going out. There's a lot of oversight being performed by a number of people that have to make sure that the township is getting what we're paying for in terms of both the insurance and the contracts that are going to be bid to make those improvements. So I'll continue to keep everybody apprised as best that I can, but at the same time, I know that the clerk's office, as well as the John Hines, and Michael Saranen, and Steve McDorney are also working very diligently in regards to overseeing those projects. So just stay tuned. There's more to come.
Thank you. Any questions? Under new. Oh, if you could go to the microphone, please.
Are we able to get
Could you give your
minutes?
Just
from-
give your name for the, or not your name, or that you're a township resident. And
I'm sorry. I'm Sharon Lee, and I live in the township.
Thank you, Sharon.
Are we able to get minutes from the work session? We are.
Yes.
Okay, so we can go online to get that, or, okay, thank you.
They're all posted on our website, and they're a separate spot for regular work, regular board meeting minutes, and then as well as the work session minutes.
Okay, so the information about the Galt Village demo will be in the minutes? Okay, thank you.
And there's an audio tape as well. Sometimes people like to listen to that. It's also online.
Oh, okay, thank you.
You're welcome. First item under new business, a request to approve the proposal from SME to provide monitoring services for the demolition of Galt Village Shopping Center in the amount of $68,500, which is budgeted.
So moved. Support.
Motion Eldridge, support Swanson, is that what I heard? Everyone wants to move this forward? Any questions or comments on this? Based on the work session meeting, this will kind of start the process, and in about 3 weeks, according to SME, somewhere they think they will begin the actual project and moving the fence on site. As discussed at the work session, we also agreed to do a letter to, at least to the people in the perimeter, on what the schedule is and contact information, just so people are aware and informed on the demolition process. This is kind of a bittersweet, this shopping center was thriving for years and years and years, and a lot of people worked there, and it was a great asset, but it wasn't maintained and hasn't been maintained for a long time. So it's definitely, it's in terrible shape, and it's an eyesore. It's a public nuisance that attracts people to go there for the wrong reasons. And it's just been, we've worked for 5 years to try to get it brought back up to code and do whatever we can to help make it a thriving shopping center again. And we don't own it, so we can't make people do stuff. And we tried, and I feel like we really tried hard to work with the owner of this property and the previous owner of this property. They demolished half of it already. It's actually 2 different lots out there. A lot of people don't realize that. So it's bittersweet, but it's time. And the residents in that area have spoken about it many, many times. So let's get it down, and hopefully we can work towards revitalizing it and, making it thriving again. So, any questions or comments?
What they gonna put up there next once they tear that down?
The question from the audience was, they're not going to put anything there yet. We're going to demolish it. We don't own it at all. So hopefully, with the building down, we want it redeveloped. The community wants it redeveloped. So getting it down will be a beginning of rebuilding it.
I heard they were gonna put some houses up there. That's why I was asking you.
Just because I can hear you well, but I'm not sure if the person doing the minutes, no, you don't have to get up, I will. The question was asked, is there going to be housing there? There is no proposed plan right now for housing to go there, but during the master plan process, it allowed the opportunity for a mixture of housing and commercial development, but there is no plans to put anything there at this time. Correct, Jason? That's correct. Good question. So we have a motion support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The next item is request to approve the professional services proposal from ERNOT Consulting to submit the Department of Energy Efficient Block Grant in the amount of $6,500, which is budgeted.
So moved, Peterson.
Support.
Motion Peterson, support Rowe. Beth is here with us this evening. We discussed this at the last work session, and we'll be submitting for a grant for the HVAC rooftop units at the community center. In the work session, we were saying that we're very glad that we have you on board to assist with grants. It's the most we've applied for grants since we actually retained a grant writer. So thank you for all the work you do, and we look forward to bringing them in and making it happen. So thank you so much. We have a motion support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. The next item on the agenda is to approve the agreement with the Precision Concrete Cutting for sidewalk shaving in the amount of $152,694.47.
So moved, Peterson.
Motion Peterson, support Hunter. For the people who were not at the work session, we did a pilot program with this new technology that shaves off sidewalks in order to eliminate any trip hazards. And we did it in Apple Ridge and in Bud and Blossom last year to see how it worked. The residents were very happy with it. You didn't have to dig it up and replace it. You could just shave it off. And this continued down Clark Road, and it was Rue DeVille, Rue Willette, and the Holmes area subdivision. So this is like phase 2, and it was discussed in the work session and requested that we continue to do this and bring them back, every year to the board. So this is proactive work instead of waiting for people to call us and tell us about it. And we're excited to continue with this pilot project that's the second year. Questions or comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 4 is Resolution 2023-05, which is a resolution of support for the Washtenaw County Water Resource Commission Office ARPA grant. Clerk Rowe?
I have Resolution 2023-05, whereas this board is committed to the protection of surface water and the environment, and whereas this board recognizes that the Washtenaw County Water Resources Commission has a grant opportunity providing stormwater management, flood control, development review, and water quality programs, and whereas this board acknowledges interest in seeking this grant funding, this board understands that this is a reimbursement-based grant, and now therefore be resolved that this board supports the pursuit of the Washtenaw County Water Resource Commissioner's Office ARPA grant funding. So move the resolution.
Motion Rowe? Support Eldridge. Beth?
Hi, good evening again. So we didn't really have a chance to talk about this one 2 weeks ago, but the Washtenaw County Water Resource Commission is utilizing their ARPA funds to provide a grant to the communities within the county to address stormwater in multiple ways, but anything that improves existing stormwater conditions. So one thing that was going on already was Mike Saranen is, per the FERC requirements, has to do the concrete improvements as well as the inspection on the spillwater gates for the Ford Dam. So we looked at this as kind of huge when we think about stormwater, because we have multiple regions that are draining into Ford Lake. And then also, should something happen with the dam and the spill gates, now we're causing massive flooding downriver to Belleville, So this kind of light bulb, they're encouraging some rain garden activity. The maximum grant is $200,000. However, we're not expecting a maximum grant amount. I would say, we'd be hopeful at 50, 75, 100. But, this is an excellent opportunity for a project that's ongoing, that has multiple communities impacted, to recoup some costs, right back into the dam maintenance fund, and allow, use of the ARPA funds, which infrastructure and is so huge. So I don't want to be discouraged by any amount that we receive, but I also think that this is an excellent opportunity to highlight the dam and how much it costs to maintain the dam. So in order to do so, we need this resolution of support. Also, as part of this discussion, I do need a commitment for funding of the project. So I believe the project has already been budgeted for. So we just need to commit that the township has the matching funds necessary to move forward.
Madam Chair. Beth, I didn't know, when
Yeah.
throwing this resolution together.
Yeah.
I did put in there that we understood it as reimbursement grant. Would that be enough, or do you need something more to submit with the grant?
So I think if we could add, and I don't know if you allow doing this from the dais, if we could just add one more that says, whereas the township has budgeted for, whereas the township has committed budget funds for the concrete repair and inspection of spillway gates. Is that accurate? No?
We budgeted some funds for it, but I don't know if it was for the entire project to be done this year.
Okay.
Because they first have to do the study and, right?
No, the study's complete. So this is going out to bid in June.
It's not 1.2 million, I know that.
It's not.
No. Well, that's not what's budgeted.
Oh, okay. That was the engineer estimate that we
Okay.
last got was 1.2 million. So what they're looking for is a commitment that if we receive grant funds, we'd be able to do this project.
And they be in Washtenaw County?
Yes. The grantor wants to know that the project can be completed if they assign funds.
Completed by
The township.
this year?
No, in 2024.
Okay, I'm just trying to, I'm sorry, I don't
That's okay.
want to say anything that's not accurate, you know?
Absolutely, I agree. I don't want to submit anything that's not accurate.
It says dedicated matching funds.
Yeah, so let's just go ahead and do, and has dedicated that requires, so after reimbursement-based grant, that requires dedicated township funding, if that's acceptable to the board.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
may I ask a question?
yes, please.
Do we know how much this total grant will be?
No, we don't. So we're asking for 200,000, which is the maximum that can be given to any applicant. So we're asking for the full maximum.
So 200,000, and the county will match another 200,000?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair? So to get this straight, just an understanding. So Washtenaw County's ARPA
Yes.
is going to give us, we can apply for up to 200,000?
Yes.
So after that, you're asking for a commitment to this township, from the township, to match, they might not even give us 200,000, okay?
They may not.
And let's say they give us 100,000. So you're asking us to match what they give us?
Correct.
And then, but what is that, what if that's not enough? Okay, that's my question is, do you have a number of the total project? That's what I need to know.
Yeah, so the last engineer estimate that was just a couple weeks ago came back at 1.2 million.
That's where that 1.2 million came in?
Yes. And that's completing all of the concrete repair. Correct me if I'm wrong, if it's on the north face. I believe all of the concrete repair, that's inspecting the gates.
So for us to accept this resolution, is that 1.2 included in the, well, you say completion? You don't have the number there, but you're telling me the number. I don't think the number's there, the 1.2. But is that completion is part of this resolution that the township will have to come up with?
So the township would have to come up with the matching funds
I got that.
to complete what we request.
Okay.
So based on what I'm hearing and that all the funds are not dedicated at this point, I think the grant will be only for the inspection of the spillway gates, which
Which you would get from Washtenaw County.
yes,
Clear. But the whole project might cost 1.2 million.
it may.
And I guess we could talk to, we're going to do some more talking eventually. But I just want to make sure that's not included in that resolution.
Right.
And it's just basically to cover the double, paying half,
So
or whatever you get from the ARPA.
yeah, so stepping back a little bit, FERC, so as part of the FERC inspection of the hydro dam, FERC is requiring by 2024 that the spillway gates are inspected and approved. In addition to that, there's recommendation, not requirement, that the concrete repairs be made. So in order to inspect, and I hope I'm accurate here, in order to inspect the spillway gates, they actually have to stop the dam from operation. So the goal, the hope from the dam operation is that while that operation is stopped, they could get the concrete repairs done at the same time. However, when this was first discussed, concrete and labor was a lot cheaper. So every time the engineer gives an estimate, it's going up 15-20%.
So tell me this, do you have a budget for the concrete?
That's
part
included
of
in the
that?
1.2.
It's included in that 1.2?
Yes. Yes, that's the latest
See,
estimate.
so he almost has to have the 1.2 to continue to do some work. Is that correct?
To get the concrete work done. But the inspection part on just the spillway gates is going to be a lot more manageable in the area of 200,000. So that's where we would seek to focus the grant and make sure that the spillway gates can be inspected. And then the board will have to consider if they want to commit funding at the same time for the concrete repairs. But we're not going to hinge the grant on the concrete repairs.
Gotcha.
From what I'm hearing tonight.
One more question. So do you foresee any more grants being designated to the dam? Is there any more grants going to be available to the dam in the new future?
I can't answer that. The bipartisan infrastructure bill is opening up funding that hasn't been seen for a long time. So I want to say I will search for every possibility, but it has not been a popular source of funds in the past. But that's really changed with this bipartisan bill. They've really opened up funding to infrastructure that hasn't been funded for years. So I don't want to say no, but I don't want to lead you down a path that,
I understand.
yeah, there's 12 other sources.
I just wanted to know if you knew if anything was coming up in addition that could be helpful to us.
Yeah, no, I'm looking on a regular basis because I know the dam is very expensive to own and operate.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
But our dam is a great dam.
Oh, it's a damn good
Damn good dam, yes it is. But it's really in pristine condition, and anyone that sees it, and I hope one day that more residents get the opportunity to see it because they don't know about it. It's on Bridge Road, and it actually generates electricity, which is an alternative, and DTE buys the energy from us, which we have to renegotiate that contract. What year is that, 20?
It's up, I think, in 2027, but Michael Searnan indicated we should start making plans now for that new contract.
That'll be a major, but the township board has always invested and kept this hydro station in very good condition, and Michael Sarin is an amazing dam operator and very well-respected.
And very passionate.
Very passionate.
That's awesome.
And so we did budget the $200,000, and my understanding is that you first have to draw the water down and see what is there before you can determine what the condition of the sluice gates, I think is another word.
Sluice, yes.
Yes. So, and this will help, this will definitely help towards that, which does help with water quality. And
Yes.
Huron River dumps into Ford Lake, and we're literally at the bottom. So the county, everything that comes down and goes through the city and ends up in Ford Lake before it goes through the dam and released. But like, as far as being a county regional effect, you know.
For sure.
Everyone uses it, you know, and it flows everything down river. So I think it should qualify, hopefully, for my.
It does. We did inquire, so this does qualify for the grant.
Yeah, and so I think it would be great chance, right? We can try it. And
We're gonna
so the board,
put our best foot
we
forward.
had a motion in support. We didn't vote on it yet, but would Stan or Heather, you made the motion, and Stan Eldridge supported it. Would you be okay with amending the resolution to include the fact that that the matching funds are required and budgeted? Is that
Yes.
I'll read it back to you, Beth. This is what I was going to add it to, Stan. Whereas the board acknowledges interest in seeking this grant funding, this board understands that this is a reimbursement-based grant that requires dedicated township funding.
I think that,
Fine.
yeah, I think that's sufficient.
And it is budgeted.
Yes.
All right.
Good.
You're okay with that?
Good.
Yep.
So we have a motion and support with the additional language added. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I'm sorry, can I add one more information about the grant? Just so everyone knows, there is 3 rounds planned. So this is a first round submittal. If we don't get picked in the first round, we're going to go hard with the second round and third round. So there are 3 rounds of funding, and you know, the goal is to be in early and to knock on doors often.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is a request approval of the purchase agreement with DTE for the installation of 12 street lights on Ridge Road from Michigan Avenue to Mott Road in the amount of $80,046.53. We have a motion Eldridge, support Swanson. And the street lights, it is it's not well lit at all. There's no lights. There's a few poles, but I don't remember. It goes all the way to Michigan Avenue, from Mott all the way to Michigan Avenue. It'll have acorn lighting. It is LED lighting as well. And we also have sidewalk improvements in order to let the ATA bus stop to be in there, as well as the CBDG grant dollars for the park itself. So, yes, there's a lot acronyms going on, but this is really good. And like Trustee Swanson said, a lot of people walk there out of necessity, and just to even get to the bus stop is not easy. And this will make it a lot better, and as well as safer, and hopefully slow the traffic down, because it's a 2-lane road and people do speed. And if you give the acorn lighting, they say it gives it a element of a neighborhood, which is really what it is. And we're excited. This was brought forth by a resident at the senior citizen luncheon that Gloria Peterson and I attended, so. Any other questions or comments? We have a motion support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The next item is budget amendment number 5. Clerk Rowe.
Sorry. All right, I have budget amendment number 5. I would move to increase the general fund budget by $201,536 to $13,744,910 and approve the line item changes as outlined. Move to increase bike, sidewalk, rec, and road fund budget by $20,000 to $3,428,461 and approve the line item changes as outlined. And move to increase the 14B District Court fund budget by $2,464 to $1,724,173 and approve the line item changes as outlined. I would so move the budget amendment.
Motion Rowe. Support Eldridge to approve the budget amendments. Questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. The next item is a request to award the bid for highway and street trash cleanup and township mowing and abatement to Looking Good Lawn.
So moved, Peterson.
Support.
Motion Peterson, support Rowe. Discussion? At the work session, it was brought up that 6 employees would be assigned to the litter pickup. And I just wanted to know if we could add that to the scope of, or to the agreement. I couldn't find it, but I read it somewhere, and Heather, you might have just told me, I don't know, but it's in my head. So if we
Yeah.
could just add that, if, Mr. Winters, do you think that would be all right if we added the number of employees for the pickup of the,
Well, I'm not really sure exactly how many employees they have.
they said 6.
6, I can't
I know it wasn't in here,
see it.
but it was something I read, and it was in a meeting. Am I overstating?
Madam Chair, no, Mr. Dillon did say in our meeting that it would be 6. I guess my only concern is that if, like, he ever, had temporary help quit or wasn't able to keep that 6 employees, if we put it in our contract, it kind of binds him to that.
My only question would be, if he has less than 6, then will the hourly rate from $350 go down? Because the $350 is based on 6, if you take the $50 person per hour. I'm okay if he has less, as long as he's willing to reduce the price as well.
Is he,
He's
he's not coming? Well, we can ask him and approve it. I'm sure he'll work with us. Yeah, and he does do a good job whenever we need him. It was bid out.
But
And the litter is worse than it's ever been in its entire life. I've never seen so much trash along the highway. Yes.
Okay, so, Madam Chair, I made the motion. Want me possibly amend the motion that we would be talking to the company to request a 6-person if needed, or what? Can we put some language in there, or what? If you need it to be
I think,
amend. If you need it to be amend.
Yeah, I think we could, if he agrees to it. I'm sorry, he's not here. And which he verbally agreed to it, I think. I wasn't there.
I would say that I wouldn't want to mischaracterize what he said. We asked, how many employees do you usually have? And he said, I usually have a crew of 6. And so what I just,
But it's not in the proposal?
it is not.
So if he said it verbally, would he not mind to put it in writing so we can go ahead and approve this?
So in his agreement, he has for the trash collection trash collection, 24 hours a month, and then it lists the annual, and it gives the hourly rate, and then his total annual cost. So, I mean, I understand, like, we want to know how many people are out, but at any rate, I think his hourly rate is listed, his annual cost is listed.
Now.
And the hours per month we're going to get, regardless of number of people working.
You don't get that much work for that.
Yes.
That's what you're saying.
my expectation would be.
Okay, so it's, okay. So with that price, you're saying you're getting the amount of work to do the job without listing how many employees you got? I mean,
That's how I read what he's written.
I think that's what's submitted. But I have to agree with Stan. If there's one person out picking up trash, you're not going to get as much done as four. So
And you're paying the price.
I didn't know that was four, but you,
I mean, we can always take it back to bid, too.
well, if he said it, I think he meant it.
I mean, I just don't want to hold him to, this is the contract he submitted, and I don't want to hold him to, something he said in a meeting casually to us, to mean more than it did, and/or put him in a difficult position if he's not able to maintain his help. As you guys know, I mean, it's been really hard for us to get seasonal work, and I don't think that that is unique to us.
That raises a question, like if, let's say they can't even get four, right? Like if there's no understanding of like, and I'm not saying that's the case, but I understand what Trustee Eldridge is saying too, like if we're paying an hourly rate, I guess maybe it isn't tied to the work, but like what's the work that's got to be accomplished? Like there has to be some tie-in to it so that we know that otherwise like we could go weeks without, enough people to do it. So I guess I don't know what the tie-in is to.
Or on, I think it's.
Right, like what will be accomplished for that?
Like
or how many people it takes.
24 hours per month is what he has listed. And that, I think, is that's just for the trash collection piece.
I guess my only point was, if one vendor had it at $9,600 a year, but he's a one-person operation, what circumstances, maybe this company we're speaking of loses 5 employees and they have one person now a month, but they're getting $350 an hour. So that's my only concern. I don't mind if he only has 2 employees or if he has 20 employees, just as long as we're paying for those amount of people, because there is an hourly rate in there listed. That's all. I'm not opposed to this company doing the work. I just want to make sure we're getting charged properly for the amount of people that are doing the work.
We have a motion in support to amend the contract to include that. Would you rather table it and talk to him, or? They're continuing.
I mean, yeah, they're working for us as we speak and had started already, but we just brought them in. I mean, John, I don't know if you have anything else you want to add to it, but we just met with him. And so my personal preference is not to table it, and if we have other questions, I'm pulling up the bids right now if you want to know what Pioneers looked like. But again, Looking Good's also the only one that bid on the OCS trash pickup.
Right, and in our conversations with Mr. Dillon, he's been very agreeable, and if we needed to specify how many workers per hour in the agreement, I'm sure he'd be more than fine with that. I guess my question would be is then do we want to also add that for the mowing? Because on the flip side, they were more expensive in trash by a considerable amount, but on mowing, they're considerably cheaper. So would that want to be included as well?
John, the only thing I would say is, again, whether it's 1 or 100, it doesn't matter to me. I just want to pay for the people that we're getting to do the work. That's all.
Understandable.
Yeah.
John, I have a question, Madam Chair.
Yeah.
So, John, you're saying they're doing work for you right now. So are they still under contract?
So there was an agreement signed in 2022 between the township and Looking Good. So they're working under the agreements of that contract, yes.
To what date?
It's just kind of been a continuation.
22 to 23? But what month? So are they still under contract?
It was specified until we went out to bid, which was in October of 2022.
Okay. So October 22, and they had a year contract?
They signed it before October. In October, we went out to bid for this service and got the bids last fall, and then it was brought to the board now. So the agreement was signed last year, and I can pull up their agreement, but it was signed last year in, I think, early spring. And so it's just a continuation where the pricing has actually stayed the same from what we did last year. The only difference is we went from 25 hours a month to 24 hours a month in this agreement.
But the early spring, what I'm saying is, with that agreement, when did that agreement end? Did it end early spring, like now, or does it go all the way up to sometime in the fall, and then the other agreement kicks in?
It was supposed to expire in November 30th of last year.
Of last year?
Yeah, the agreement in 2022, because we went out to bid out the services for 2 years.
So they already started the process of working for us, and we don't have the agreement signed?
We just
that what you're saying?
extended
We
what
just
they were
extended the
currently
agreement from last year.
For how long the extension will be?
while we bid it out.
In good
Yeah.
faith? Gotcha. Thank you. I understand.
We just need some clarity, so I don't know that I'm hearing people want to not vote on this, because the trash is out there, mowing's going to need to start. Attorney Winters, your advice, since you are the person who helps us with contracts?
Well, it sounds like right now, this contract, it was supposed to start on April 1st, and they're doing the work right now. And this is the amount they're charging us. I think what we're trying to, Stan or Treasurer Eldridge is trying to just get clarification as to how many employees are being assigned to perform these tasks. And I think if we can get a clarification, that could be either an addendum to this contract, if they can put in writing exactly how they are performing this, I think that would satisfy the board, I think.
Understood.
If I'm understanding it correctly, it's just the dollar amount is okay, but we need to know exactly how it's being performed for some kind of I guess, to make sure we're comparing apples to apples with the other ones who bid, one employee, et cetera. So I'm just being redundant, but I think that's what the board is seeking, is that addendum in regards to the number of employees that are performing the services.
Understood. Can I have that added?
Madam Chair, just I wanted to add this last piece of information for the board, is that in the actual bid documents, there were 10 people that he submitted as a part of, like, these could be employees of ours. So there were 10 listed.
So I'm understanding that Attorney Winters is saying that we could approve this tonight with the understanding that you're going to work on the addendum and the clarity that's going to meet what we were asking, what I hear the board asking is like clarity on. Is that correct?
Yes, I think what you're trying to find the number of employees, and if he has 10, maybe 5 are assigned for mowing, 5 are assigned for trash pickup, I'm not really sure, but I think we need to know.
We do need to know. One person working to pick up paper versus 4 or 5 people working, it's a big difference in how much you accomplish, that's all. I think his intentions are good, and they've done a great job for us, and it was bid out. But, so we can approve the contract as a motion in support that has to approve it as is, with the understanding addendum comes back at the next meeting, right?
Yes.
So we have a motion, Peterson, support Rowe, to approve the contract with the understanding addendum will come back at the next meeting for the total number of employees. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. It was added, under other business. It was the request to authorize approval of the proposal for Cribley Drilling Company for the planning and construction of the Apple Ridge Park Community Garden well.
So move.
Motion Rowe, supported Swanson. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Motion to adjourn.
So move.
Motion Rowe, support Eldridge to adjourn.
All in favor?
8 o'clock.